Hello warriors, I'm Kelly and this is my channel Incredible Anyway, where I talk about how to live an incredible life no matter what your circumstances. In this video, we're talking about something really fun for me, nerve-wracking for me. You guys just get to sit back and watch, but a lot of nerves for me. I am going on my first official date since my marriage ended, and my marriage ended 3 years ago today. So it's kind of cool because I feel like this date has a lot of great new beginnings attached to it. This date was the day that I dropped off Dash at the pet sitters and started off on my journey to Connecticut to get my service dog in 2019. 2020, it was not an eventful day, but 2018, 2019, and 2021, it is definitely an eventful day. And so it's just new beginnings, good things. Even if this guy that I go out on this date with, we don't end up anything more than just going out on this date, it is still a big deal for me. For a person who has chronic health issues and disability, often we don't have the same amount of energy that other people do. We don't feel as well as, a healthy person might. So there's a lot of things because of that we have to take into consideration, but there's also a lot of things that we have to take into consideration regarding our chronic health issues and actually preparing. So one of those things is finding a date, right? So that is a whole other story. Being on dating apps is quite a wild ride, as anybody who is single will tell you. I think no one who has not dated in the current day of dating apps and online dating can even fathom what it's like, can even fathom the jungle it is. It is wild. I am open and honest about my disability and chronic health issues on my profile. Let's say it a certain way. I can go over that if somebody is interested in how I put my profile out and how I talk about that type of stuff. But this person that I am going to meet up with today does know about my chronic health issues very basically, and also knows that I have a disability. And one of the reasons for that, aside from me saying it publicly, is that I have a service dog. Service dogs help people with disabilities and do tasks to mitigate their disability and make life more manageable, or help them to actually be independent and do things that they couldn't have done without the dog. And so my service dog helps me in a lot of ways. I have a lot of videos if you're interested in the things he does for me. He goes everywhere I go in public. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be going in public with a dog with somebody who I don't know. And that's great. I do that all the time, but I'm actually going to be spending time in person with this person. So I have to say, hey, I want you to give you a heads up. My dog's going to be with me, but he's a service dog. He's a working dog. So there are certain things you can't do with a service dog that you might do with a pet dog, right? Like you might normally greet a pet dog and say hello and make eye contact with them and pet them. But with a service dog, that is not appropriate because they're working, and it's really important not to take the focus off of their handler. Service dog means that he is there because he's helping me with my disabilities. He's making my life work. And he's not there for other people's entertainment, for other people's comfort. That is not his job. And while he would, of course, love to interact with everybody, that is something that he can't do while he's working, because it really just makes him it takes him out of working mode, really. And so I said to this guy, I was like, hey, just so you know, please don't interact with him, and, don't pet him, don't make eye contact with him, don't touch him, don't talk to him, things like that. And I know it's really hard for dog lovers to not do that, but that's something I have to let them know. Also, I have to prepare my dog to be ready for a date. So my dog has to have been exercised and groomed, so I have to take care of his needs. I also have to obviously get myself ready. I took a shower, my hair has air dried, so I didn't have to put that energy into it, but I do have to style it and put on makeup, and actually this is not the outfit I'm wearing, put on the outfit I'm wearing, and which reminds me, I need to make sure my pants are dry. Getting ready for a date actually takes energy, so I can't just do what I would if I didn't have chronic health issues, where I would just get ready for the date right before I'm about to leave. No, I have to get ready for the date throughout the day so I can take breaks and rest. And there's also that thing that I have mentioned in other videos where I am physically very deconditioned. So sitting up at a table in a chair takes a lot more strength in my core than sitting on a couch does, because you sit different ways. You don't have to hold yourself up in a certain way. And I was couch bound for a very good part of the last several months. And so I lost a lot of core strength. And that's something that I'm working on developing, but it's not there yet. And so I have to be very aware that I know I might not be able to sit up as long and be concerned about that. It's hard to think about. It's frustrating, but I have to be very careful about like how long am I with this person and make sure I don't overdo it so much that I'm miserable at the end of the date. Of course, I have all of the nerves and all the excitement that you would with any other date. I don't know this guy at all except for messaging him. And as a person with disability, that can be very dangerous. I mean, it's always very dangerous for anybody to meet anybody that they've met online and don't know who they are. And so I have to make sure that people know where I am. I contacted somebody local and I said, hey, I'm going on this date. This is where I'm going to be at this time, and I'm going to text you. So that way, if they don't hear from me, they can call the police, or they can go to the place and check out and see, like, is she there? People know where I am is really a good safety check, especially people with disabilities. Unfortunately, especially women with disabilities are assaulted at an extremely higher rate and percentage than people without or women without disabilities. And so that can be a very scary prospect entering the dating world. But it just means that I have to be a little bit more careful and a little bit more, ready for it. So I'm obviously not going to be filming on my date. That's not something that I'm going to share. It's not something that I would even do. But I am going to share as I get ready and as I, when I get home, like, how did it go and how am I feeling? Because I think it's really important to see that people like me live differently. And I, my whole channel name is Incredible Anyway, because I have an incredible life no matter what is going on, even with my health issues. I can have a good life. And I think it's important to see that I can. And it also takes a little bit of planning and consideration and managing and trying to figure out, like, what can I do and what can't I do. And it also, it takes out of me, like, I'm sure I will be exhausted. I feel exhausted and I haven't even gone on the date yet. I have a lot of anxiety about it, but I'm trying to think of it as like, okay, I'm just going to be myself, and this is just, getting to know each other. I feel comfortable talking with people, so usually I think in this situation I feel anxiety more before, because I've never met him, I've never talked to him on the phone, so I don't know anything about him in that aspect, just messaging. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. That's another thing. Like, my friend was like, what are you wearing, girl? And I videoed her and I showed her my shirt and I was like, this is what I'm wearing. And I'm really thankful because I have an amazing friend who's, really cheering me on and excited for me and happy. Like, I woke up this morning to a message from her, like, today's the day. I have been talking to so many different men on dating apps recently that I've kind of just gotten to this place where I'm like, it's going to take a while before I actually find somebody that I might want to go on a date with, because I'm looking for somebody who shares my faith, and that isn't as common. People might share it, but maybe not as committed as I am, and that's okay. That's their prerogative. It's just not what I'm looking for. And so that makes it just a little bit harder to look for. And obviously I'm not your everyday woman. I have chronic health issues and they do affect my life, and I'm very direct and open about that. I have a disability, those things do matter, but they don't matter also. Like, they matter as far as I think is important for somebody to know that is part of my package. I hope somebody will see that I am more than my disability and my chronic health issues. And I found that there are a lot of men that are not really concerned about it. Granted, they don't know what it's like to live with me, but they do know, these facts, and they're not running the other direction. I think that's really exciting. So I'm going to text my date right now. That's another thing that I am doing that other people might not do, but I am showing up a lot earlier than the time that we decided on to meet. And the reason is because I have a service dog and I want to make sure there's a table that I feel comfortable sitting in. I want to make sure that Benny is in place. And that's another thing. I haven't been to a Panera in a really long time. So this is anxiety producing, even if I weren't going with a man. Just going by myself would be anxiety producing. So it's a lot. And I feel brave. I'm having to have a lot of courage, but I think that's part of this. And that's part of, the risk that you take when you go on dates. It's the excitement. It's getting brave enough to do something that you're scared of. And with my faith, I just really trust that I know that Jesus will be with me. I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm just living in the moment. I just want to be present. I think that's something I made the error of in the past was I just wanted to be married. I just wanted to find my person. And I was so anxious to do that. I was always kind of one step ahead of myself. So I wasn't actually enjoying the present moment. And I made bad decisions because of that. And so I just am going to enjoy this for what it is. It's meeting for coffee, a coffee date. And that's exciting. And it's exciting to meet a new person and see, do we mesh? Like, do we have any chemistry? Do we hit it off? Do we have things in common? So I'm excited and I will fill you guys in as I go along today.
I'm just having a good time, having a bad day, yeah. A real good morning.